apps and filters. Whatever the outside world is really like, we use our senses and map it. The world is an infinity of possible sense impressions, and we are able to perceive only a very small part of it. That part we can perceive is further filtered by our unique experiences, language, beliefs, values, interests and assumptions. Everyone lives in their unique reality built from their sense impressions and individual experiences of life, and we act on the basis of what we perceive our model of the world. The world is so vast and rich that we have to simplify to give meaning. Map making is a good analogy for what we do. It is how we make meaning of the world. Maps are selective. They leave out as well as give information, and they are invaluable for exploring the territory. The sort of map you make depends on what you notice, and where you want to go. The map is not the territory it describes. We attend to those aspects of the world that interest us and ignore others. The world is always richer than the ideas we have about it. The filters we put on our perception determine what sort of world we live in. There is a story of Picasso being accosted by a stranger to ask him why he did not paint things as they really are. Picasso looked puzzled. "I do not really understand what you mean," he replied. The man produced a photograph of his wife. "Look," he said, "like that? That's what my wife really looks like." Picasso looked doubtful. "She is very small, is she not? And a little bit flat?" An artist, the lumberjack and a botanist taking a stroll through a wood will have very different experiences and notice very different things. If you go through the world looking for excellence, you will find excellence. If you go through the world looking for problems, you will find problems. Or as the Arabic saying puts it, what a piece of bread looks like depends on whether you are hungry or not. Very narrow beliefs, interests and perceptions will make the world impoverished, predictable and dull. The very same world can be rich and exciting. The difference lies not in the world, but in the filters through which we perceive it. Some of Handel's basic filters are often referred to as behavioral frames. These are ways of thinking about how you act. The first is an orientation towards outcomes rather than problems. This means finding out what you and others want, finding what resources you have, and using these resources to move toward your goal. The problem orientation is often referred to as the blame frame. This means analyzing what is wrong in great detail. It means asking questions like, why do I have this problem? How does it limit me? Whose fault is it? These sorts of questions do not usually lead anywhere useful. Asking them will leave you feeling worse than when you started, and does nothing towards solving the problem. The second frame is to ask how rather than why questions. How questions will get you an understanding of the structure of a problem. Why questions are likely to get you justifications and reasons without changing anything. The third frame is feedback versus failure. There is no such thing as failure, only results. These can be used as feedback, helpful corrections, a splendid opportunity to learn something you had not noticed. Failure is just a way of describing the results you did not want. You can use the results you get to redirect your efforts. Feedback keeps the goal in view. Failure is a dead end. Two very similar words, yet they represent two totally different ways of thinking. The full frame is to consider possibilities rather than necessities. Again, this is a shift in focus. Look at what you can do, what choices are available, rather than the constraints of a situation. Often the barriers are less formidable than they appear. Finally, Handel adopts an attitude of curiosity and fascination rather than making assumptions. This is a very simple idea and has profound consequences. Young children learn tremendously quickly, and they do it by being curious about everything. They do not know, and they know they do not know, so they are not worried about looking stupid if they ask. After all, once upon a time, everybody knew the Earth went around the Sun, that something heavier than air could not fly, and of course to run a mile in less than 4 minutes was physiologically impossible. Change is the only constant. Another useful idea that we all have, or can create, the inner resources we need to achieve our goals. You are more likely to succeed if you act as if this were true than if you act the opposite.